Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're processing our Long Island cheese pumpkins, so I thought I'd make a video and kind of show you an easy, straightforward, and really effective way to process pumpkins, squash, or anything like that for long-term storage in the freezer. First step is you have to cook it. So what we're doing, we're going to chop it in half using a nice serrated knife. And look at that beauty. This is just a fantastic, as I mentioned in the video, pumpkin, Long Island cheese. It's really good sugar content, really nice pumpkin flavor, really strong pumpkin flavor, which is a big plus in my book. I want to taste the pumpkin, and this one certainly gives you that. But the smell when you're doing this, it's just such a fall smell. If you're, if you live in an area where squash is a thing that you grow and eat a lot, it's just, what that smell is. It's the best. And these pumpkins, what we're doing now, we're just trying to get all the seeds out of there. We're not worried too much about the flesh, the stringiness or anything. We're not trying to get that out, because what we're going to do is we're going to roast them, we're going to scoop them, and then we're going to run them through the food processor to puree them for storage. So we're not worried about any stringiness. So here they are, ready to go in the oven. We're going to flip them upside down and cook them upside down so that they basically get steamed in the oven. So we're not going to add any butter, any spices or anything. We just want the straight up pumpkin squash product. We can always add stuff later, and we will, of course, in recipes, but we just want pure pumpkin. And there's all the pumpkin guts. Man, that's such a good smell, though. Such a fall smell. So here we are. We're going to put these in the oven just like this. Now this one is gigantic. As I mentioned, the usual size is like 10 pounds-ish. This was pushing 20 pounds, I believe. So this is like double the size of a typical Long Island cheese. So 375-degree oven. Just cook them until they're basically, I'm going to show you what they look like, but until they're cooked through. I do recommend, like I said, put them upside down so that they steam. And I do recommend putting some foil on the bottom of the sheet tray. You can almost smell that picture. That's just so cool. No, that's just compost. You can eat the seeds, though. You can toast pumpkin seeds and eat them. They're really good, actually, with a little bit of salt. That was like a snack we always used to have after jack-o'-lanterns for Halloween. So this is what it looks like when it's cooking. You can see all that liquid. Now that liquid is all full of sugar from the pumpkins, so you don't want that getting on your tray. That's why I put the foil down, because otherwise you're going to have caramelized sugar all over the place. Oop, a little bit of lens fog. We're going to have to reshoot that scene, but there we go. One part cooks faster than the other a lot of times, so like the thinner part is done. This part's taking a little bit longer. You just kind of poke it when it feels really soft and wants to deflate almost. Then you know it's ready to go, because you want it fully cooked. So this is what it looks like when it's fully cooked. Obviously, you can see the skin has some browning on it, but the big thing is when you poke at it, it's going to be really soft feeling, like there's no raw pumpkin. You can kind of feel like, okay, that definitely has a give. It's squishy, for lack of a better term, so you know it's ready to go. And you want to let it cool for a little bit. And like this one, we flipped upside down, or flipped right side up, I should say. And then once it's cool, you can start scooping it. So this is basically just going to scoop it into a dish, with the idea being that we're going to put this through the food processor once we have it all scooped. And what that's going to do is take any lumps, any stringiness, all that stuff out, and give you a beautiful pumpkin puree that is basically the same consistency as like a canned pumpkin that you would purchase. So it's perfect for your pies and any other recipes that you might have. So here's the pumpkin after we scooped. You can see there's a lot of liquid in there. We don't want that liquid going in the final product, really, because it'll end up being too watery. So I end up setting this in a colander to try to get that off, because you don't have to be too worried about it or get too crazy about it, but you just try not to put it in the food processor as much as possible. And then that's the scooped pumpkin shell. Food processor's ready to go. We got the blade. We're going to puree. So we'll do this in batches, because this pumpkin's pretty big, so it's going to take a couple of batches to do it. So I put the puree in the colander, and I'm just sort of pushing it around. Like I said, try to get as much of that excess liquid out of there as you can. Now we're doing the puree. just going to go until it's the consistency that's smooth and, you know, for lack of a better term, kind of like canned pumpkin. That's what we're looking for, because we want to use it like we would use canned pumpkin, basically, in a pumpkin pie. That's what this is for. So sometimes you're going to need to stir it, kind of give it a little help. You know, sometimes that happens when you're pureeing anything. The bottom part will be nice and pureed, and the top part, where all the chunks are, the blade can't reach. So kind of stir it, but look, it's getting really nice. That's probably okay as is, but we're going to give it a little extra spin. And now, this is after that little extra spin, looking really good. And so we're ready for packaging. So this is the finished product that's going to go into vacuum seal bags. So what I like to do with stuff like this that's soft, if you put it in a vacuum seal bag and try to seal it, it's going to suck some of it up into the vacuum sealer and cause trouble. This is just the before. So you can see how chunky it is, and that's the after. So that's definitely, just shows the worth and the value of using the food processor for that last step. But what I like to do is I'll put it in the vacuum seal bags. We do ours in like 30-ounce portions, which is like a big can of pumpkin, basically. And then leave the bag kind of unsealed, put it in the freezer for a few hours till it gets stiff and freezes, and then vacuum seal it. And that way you're not going to suck that liquid pumpkin up into the vacuum sealer. That's actually a great thing to do with tomato sauces and all sorts of other stuff too. So here's our yield, 4 pounds, 13 ounces out of that pumpkin, almost 5 pounds, which is really good because, you know, you figure all the weight of the pumpkin skin, the seeds, the guts, all that stuff that obviously doesn't go in the finished product, and water weight. So really nice. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this helpful. It's a great way to process pumpkins and squash, any kind of squash, for long-term storage.